It is time to talk some sports, and this show is here to support guys that are going through a tough time, either physically or mentally. And we want to have a reach out to our good friend Rick Limpert today. Rick has been on the show several times, and he's even co-hosted with me. His father is in his last days. So, Rick, we're thinking I'll be praying for you, and hope all goes well. We're here for you if you need us. So, again, my name is Chuck Burge. Robert Kinney, my co-host. How are you, buddy?
I'm living the dream. How about yourself?
If I was any better, I'd be you.
You know, talking about Rick Limpert, at some point in our conversation about most famous person in your phone, he might become mine at some point, because every time I go on Facebook, he's saying, here's the Swedish pole vault champion I'm taking a picture with. Here's the, guy is always getting a selfie with somebody.
He's hanging with somebody. And we love having Rick on the show. He's probably one of the most versatile people I know. He's all over the place. Speaking of versatile, have you seen the menu at Miller's Ale House lately?
Si magnifique.
I'm doing the Mimi's Fiesta Bowl tonight. Does that surprise you?
I know there's a few people watching on that camera right now that are blown away that you're going Mimi's.
Yeah, I know. How about you? Did you switch things up?
I did. I went with a chicken pesto ravioli.
Wow. That sounds pretty good.
Didn't sound like it'd be bad, and everything else is awesome when it comes out here. So,
Lichtenstein Larry, what did you come up with?
I'm going for the Reuben sandwich.
Oh, so everybody's...
You've gone back to that a couple times.
Yeah.
You guys are crossing the menu there. I'm going to stick with what I like.
It's not actually on the menu. It's one of their specialties.
Oh, okay.
It lasts for a while, so
Lichtenstein Larry's knows who to order from in the back.
you got to take advantage of it while they have it.
All right.
Hey, Teddy, can I have that sandwich again? Thanks, buddy.
Well, while you guys are racking your brains about what you're going to eat, we'll listen to a Brain Train commercial, then we'll introduce our guest.
Hey, it's Melissa at Brain Train Centers, the fastest growing neurofeedback provider in the world, and I have some pretty important questions for you. Do you or someone you know struggle with focus and attention, sleep, memory, or other mood issues? Or maybe you just want to achieve more in high-pressure situations? Well, what if I told you you can unlock your brain's full potential and change your life entirely through neurofeedback, a drug-free and natural approach to negative moods, and it's backed by more than 50 years of research, so it's not new. It is safe for both children and adults as you retrain the brain to create new pathways. Medication may help short-term, but they don't address the underlying issues. Just as push-ups help your physical strength, neurofeedback is personal training for your brain. With over 20 offices nationwide, don't hesitate to reach out to Brain Train Centers, as we will provide you with the highest level of compassionate care and help you achieve the mental clarity, performance, and calm you deserve. Your journey to a better quality of life starts with a brain map. Now you can retrain your brain and reset your life. So just call or text 470-291-2778 or visit braintraincentersinc.com.
All right, and thank you, Melissa and Meg, for being sponsors of the Three Guys Who Love Sports right here at 5 o'clock. And back with us today is Farrell Middleton. Farrell's been here a couple of times. Welcome back, buddy.
Oh, it's so good to be here.
Listen to the crowd. Can you believe that?
It's awesome.
They recognize him from all of these draft parties we keep having, and obviously a juggernaut and a stalwart in our fantasy league.
He's been the GM for more teams in the NFL than anybody I know.
That's right. I'm very versatile, and I love that number one pick. Okay, let's be clear. I love it.
I think we need to mix it up next year. Even if we get you the one pick, we gotta swap it up just to get you a.
If only we knew we could maybe crumple his up a little bit and make sure
we would
pick
never
it
do
first.
that.
No. We wouldn't use.
I was going to say, after this past year with Brent, we should give him his choice after winning twice in a row.
Or losing twice in a row,
Unfortunately for Brent, he might be picking in the top 10 for a while still.
Yeah, he might be. All right.
Just put me at number 10.
There you
I'm
go.
your guy. I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to start off today's conversation talking about this weekend. The probably premier event of the weekend is the Indy 500, where our own ATI, Adam Crooks, went to for his 13th year, is that what you said?
Yeah, it was 13.
13th year?
13th year in a row.
Yes.
So give us a little recap.
Technically 14 if you don't count 2020, which we don't. But the track said that it counts consecutively. So
Okay.
Okay.
So give us a little recap of the Indy 500 ATI.
I mean, it was a good race. I think there were 7 cautions in the first
50 laps. It was crazy,
six
yeah.
cautions in the first 98 laps.
200 laps?
Yeah, it was 200 laps. Kyle Larson ran well. He was the big story of the race. He got a speeding penalty on lap 134 coming into the pits.
And fell from 6th to 17th.
Yes, that put him a lap down.
Yeah.
Was he the big story because he did
He
both?
was
He was going to do
supposed
both.
to run both races. It rained at Indy. The race got delayed to 4:45. So he ended up being late to the NASCAR race, and then it rained, and he never got in the NASCAR car.
Just as they threw the red
Yes.
flag in Charlotte, he
You know,
showed up in a helicopter.
I know people love to have the argument whether you're an athlete, if this or that or whatever else, but there's nothing more entertaining than watching Tony Stewart, ride 900 miles a day with a Learjet that has to go 600 miles an hour to get him there. I think that's awesome stuff.
Yeah, he was supposed to drive 1,100 miles because
Yes.
it's 500 and
500 and 600, yeah.
How awesome is that?
Yeah.
People, well, you wouldn't understand. Yeah, well, this dude did 1,100, and he had a 2-hour flight. So.
It came down to the last pit stop. I think Alexander Rossi took the lead at the end of the last pit stop, and then Newgarden passed him, and then his teammate Pato O'Ward passed him, and it came down to Pato and Newgarden,
And they swapped like 2 of the last 3 laps.
Yes,
they swapped
the
positions.
final pass actually happened right in front of me. Newgarden went around the outside of O'Ward.
So you were in
and
the first turn?
it was turn 3.
Was he in turn 3?
Yeah, Newgarden went around the outside of O'Ward in turn 3 and became the first back-to-back winner since 2001, 2002.
Yeah, I heard that as well.
Elio
Yeah.
Castroneves.
So knowing that you're not a racer,
Yeah.
but let me ask you this question. In NASCAR, they always say, if you're not rubbing, you're not racing. I look at those Indy cars with those
That's a different animal.
those big wheels sitting out there. Do people go way out of their way to avoid getting in an accident where, if a guy gets inside in a NASCAR, we might just bang a little bit coming around the corner. Do people
yeah.
just?
I mean,
you got to give them the room, or
To some extent. I mean, I think on the first restart, Larson touches wheels with somebody going down the
That's
front
'cause he's
straightaway.
used to rubbing his racing.
Well, I mean, he thought there was a hole and there wasn't a hole. But I mean,
There's a lot of side
it's-
drafting in NASCAR where they are.
Yeah, I mean, it's the difference between going 180 miles an hour
Versus
and going
215.
230 miles an hour.
There's a difference.
Yes, there is.
50 miles
there's
an hour.
there is a
Not to-
difference.
Not to my eyebrows, there's not.
You give people a little bit more space.
Yeah. So congrats to Newgarden. I was very
Yes.
disappointed they didn't race to finish the race in Charlotte. It just seemed disappointing to the fans that had waited all day and they got it and it had stopped raining. And the excuse they used on TV was that the humidity was so high they couldn't get the track dry.
That's what Fox said. NASCAR told the drivers to be in their cars in 15 minutes, and then Fox magically called the race.
That's crazy.
Oh, interesting.
Right. All right. So racing big event is over, I guess, until the race in Daytona on the 4th or something, or somewhere around there. I don't know.
No, it's the race in Daytona is in
that's right,
August.
they moved it. That's right,
yes,
yeah.
but the next big race is
The 400.
No, it's June 15th. It's the 24 Hours of Le Mans.
Oh, yeah. I meant that anybody else in the world cared about.
We were talking about.
Well, it's the
what
third.
Americans believe in and what.
It's the third crown jewel event. You had Monaco.
So tell me this, because
Yeah.
nobody believes you about Monaco or anything else. You've kind of shot your credibility down over the years.
That's not true, but
my question for you is, knowing that people do try to do the 1,100 miles.
Yes.
When was the last time somebody who was a somebody?
yes.
Tried to do the 24 hours. of Le Mans.
Yeah. I'm defending Indy champ, or I won the Indy, or I'm expecting. When was the last time somebody got involved and tried to play?
Oh,
those?
they do it all the time. There's 4 IndyCar drivers running the 24 Hours of Le Mans this year, and
Right, but are they good? I'm talking about.
yeah, I mean Scott Dixon is a
Fittipaldi.
Scott Dixon is a 6-time IndyCar champion.
But
He's
hasn't won in a billion years, so he's just
that
kind of hanging
no,
on.
he
no,
won
that's not
the
true.
championship like 2 years
years
ago.
ago,
Like
yeah.
he's a 6-time IndyCar Series champion. He won the Indy 500. Like he's he's a big name.
Yeah, Scott Dixon's a big name.
I understand what you're saying is a big name, but I'm just wondering how often people do it. So you're saying he will this year?
Yeah, he will this year. He did last year. I mean, it's the difference between IndyCar and NASCAR is big. The difference between sports cars and IndyCar is relatively small. It's kind of the same chassis and the same engine, and so it's easier to transition between sports cars and.
We've spent way too much time talking about racing today, so let's move on to real sports. We did have the passing of Bill Walton, which was a surprise to me. I didn't even know he had cancer.
The happy hippie.
Yeah. One of the greatest announcers. He's so much fun to watch.
He was. I thought he was a good basketball player, of course. And
he was
tremendous. But I tell you, his personality behind the microphone was absolutely outstanding. I lost interest in basketball a couple of years ago, but I still watch every once in a while. But, man, he was really good.
Probably one of the best players ever on the mic, I would think. Yeah, he was fantastic.
Absolutely.
And he won championships with
Boston in 86, and he won the Trailblazers 76-77.
Yeah, then he won with Boston.
I thought he won 3 national championships at UCLA. And I thought he had 2 NBA championships. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
Well, no, one with Portland and one with Boston.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, because you remember his picture from '86 is him swinging the towel.
That's right.
He was the 6th man, 7th man coming off of an awesome team. But how can you not take him? I pulled up his stats, and when you look at him, didn't play in 78, 79, didn't play in 80, 81, or 81, 82. Or 87, 88, all because of his feet.
He had ankle problems or something like that.
And so, you look at that career and you think, wow, he won the title in 76, 77, won the MVP in 77, 78, didn't play the next year. Played 1 year, didn't play the next 2. What could have been, because he's still considered pretty darn good by NBA lifetime standards, and clearly missed 3 of his first 7 years, or 8 years.
Mm-hmm. No, he was quite the guy.
Absolutely.
Mike Wilbon told a great story yesterday on PTI about him. He said, people don't know this, but when he was on ESPN, in between shows, Walton was in so much pain he'd have to go stretch out on the floor and lay down on his back, because he just couldn't sit up for that long.
Wow. Right.
And so, really great tribute to Bill Walton. I was shocked to see that, because, like I said, I didn't know he had cancer. You hear about everybody. Maybe I'm not paying close enough attention to Bill Walton, but you hear about Vitale and everybody that's going through it. But I did not. Bill was sick.
I think he downplayed it as much as he could. Because he wasn't that guy who wanted everybody to. But has there ever been an athlete who has adopted a band that you associate with anybody?
Grateful Dead,
he was a Grateful Dead dude.
And,
willing to talk about it every single time he'd get interviewed. I don't know that there's ever been anybody. There's I'm the Aerosmith guy. I'm the run.
Well, unless you want to go with Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
that's a temporary thing.
Yeah. Do we have time for that today?
No, we don't have time for that today. So real quick, rest in peace, Bill. That's cool. A lot of his family and friends were. Prayers be with you. A couple other things happened this weekend. KSU lost in the finals of the ASUN baseball championship. Did not quite make it. They got beat 5-2. Is that what it was on Sunday, Adam?
I believe it was 3-2.
No, there was. They were down at once 3-2, but I think they lost 5-2.
It might have been 5-2.
Yeah, and that was kind of sad. And then I watched a lot of the women's softball. I know Robert's daughter plays. Do y'all watch a lot of that?
I do pop it on just because it's such a different game,
Oh, it really is.
Those girls are throwing so fast, and they're so close. But even third base, it's not the regular dimensions.
It's like from here to Larry, they're playing third base.
Yeah, when people talk about the hot corner, man, when somebody rifles a shot at you on that infield,
Oh yeah.
But it was fun, and I was telling Adam before the show and Larry. Sunday afternoon, I was looking for something to watch, and everything was rain delayed. Everything, the race and all the softball games. Finally found a couple. Alabama and Tennessee game was a fun game to watch. Girl hit a grand slam in the first inning, and Bama held on to beat Tennessee. I think Bama was a 6 seed, Tennessee was a 3 seed or whatever. I can't remember who I was going. I know Georgia got beat 2 in a row by UCLA, which made me very happy.
Well,
Yeah.
one thing that I noticed, I looked up the brackets. I watched a little bit of the games, but I did notice in the 8 teams that are left, 6 are in the top 10 seeds. There's a 10 seed and a 14 seed.
Duke,
And
is
it
Duke
looks
the
like-
14 seed?
I think Duke's the 14 seed.
Yes, but
and-
they do seeding differently than in college basketball.
I got you. But what I did notice as well, it looks like there's good coverage across the conferences.
Yep. And
So it seems like it's a very competitive sport.
I
these
did watch
days.
Duke when I came in. I can't remember who they beat, but it was somebody. Missouri. They beat Missouri. Yeah, Missouri was higher ranked. Missouri was 6 and Duke was 10.
Right.
In the SEC, but fun to watch.
And to Farrell's point, I think baseball and softball are always set up a little differently, so that you always have a team, from your area. It doesn't always work out that way for football and basketball, but
regional stuff.
Yeah.
I got you.
That's cool. Awesome.
And to your point, Chuck, girls' sports are fun. I mean, when a guy hits a grand slam in the first inning, the first thing he does is he does this number, lets you know, I'm Superman, look at my jersey, whatever. You watch a girl hit and she go,
Oh, yeah,
and then she does it, I mean, it's...
the girl from Duke hit her second home run in the year, and she's looking back at the dugout over her shoulder as she's running
they're
between
having
first
fun,
and second.
and it's, like I said, it's a different type of fun where they truly
And we'll talk about this a little bit more when we get into the baseball show, but the thing amazed me is a girl will throw 135 pitches, and this has got to be more trying than this. And you do it 170 times, and you come back the next day and you pitch again.
It's crazy.
Why
That's a
aren't
lot
they
of
all
pitches.
having Tommy John surgery? That's my question.
I've changed a few softball coaches' minds over the years where you bring it up. If you had a baseball pitcher who was dominating, you would never have him pitch 2 innings and then take him out for the 3rd inning and then bring him back in the 4th inning.
And they can do
Baseball
that
has
in
rules that are
softball,
illegal.
yeah.
They do it constantly in softball,
Yeah.
where a girl, smoking the first couple of innings, well, we'll bring her back in the 4th. I'm like, really? That's,
I didn't know they could do that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
They did
Wow.
it. They did it
Okay.
a lot over the weekend. Yeah.
But-
KSU did it in a game this year.
But
Yeah.
it's always funny because you look at it and you go, what is so different? And I understand it's not as taxing on your arm going under as it is over.
But they wind it all the way around.
It's like
crazy.
Axl Rose, Fred Flintstone. I mean, it's crazy
All
stuff.
right, let's get on to our first commercial, or second commercial, and American Axes, if you would, please, Robert.
Tired of going to the same old places for the same old thing? American Access has your solution. Whether you're looking for something new to do before or after the game, bachelor or bachelorette party, or somewhere new to take those out-of-town guests, American Access and their 3 Atlanta locations in Marietta, Tucker, and now in downtown at the Works are waiting for you. Each and every location is conveniently and not coincidentally located next to a brewery. Look us up at American Access or give us a call at 678-763-3635 to schedule your next adventure.
And thank you, Dan Fisher, for being a sponsor of the Three Guys Who Love Sports right here at Miller's Ale House every Wednesday at 5. And we will move on to our segment called The Greatest Athletes Ever. And this week we're
What
looking
is it called?
The Greatest
The
Athletes
greatest
The
athletes ever.
Greatest athletes ever. And we're up to number 34, believe it. So that's 35 weeks we've done this. So
If
that's
only-
pretty crazy.
If only I had somebody to tell me a funny story to start this
Well,
segment.
you know what? Let me list some of these guys. Shaq, Barkley, Hakeem the Dream, Walter Payton, Earl Campbell, Thurman Thomas. I mean, as good as 32 and 33 were, 34 it might be even better. But Farrell's got a story for us he wants to share with us. As Gomer Pyle would say, surprise, surprise.
I got you. I can't believe y'all left Herschel Walker off
Hey,
of the
we
list.
talked about that before.
However,
So tell us your story.
I got deeper than that. I'm from Savannah, Georgia, and actually my high school played against Herschel Walker. He's 2 years older than I am. He went to Johnson County High School, Wrightsville, Georgia. And
My brother used to be his mom's boss.
Okay. Oh, really? Okay.
Herschel's mom
Okay,
worked with my brother, yeah.
So anyway, a lot of people don't know this, but he wore number 43 in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And when he went to UGA, he wanted number 43, but number 43 was worn by a guy named Chris McCarthy, who was from Savannah. And basically, a freshman could not take a senior's number. Therefore, Herschel reversed the numbers and became number 34. So a lot of people don't know that story. I believe I've got that right. I heard it a long time ago. But could you imagine being Chris McCarthy and thinking, look
Now,
what
this
I was
rookie-
able to do. Yeah, I kept that number and I didn't give it to that guy who's just a freshman schlub. And boy, it didn't turn out that way, and I did it.
No, he didn't turn out to be a schlub.
But, at the end of the day, it's and I don't mean this as any disrespect, but if it wasn't for that, we would never talk about that guy.
You might be right.
The only reason why we talk about him is because he didn't give up that jersey number.
Which one, Herschel or Chris?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So
That's funny, Chris.
Anyway, but I did like obviously the other choice, Walter Payton. What a guy!
My favorite running back of all time.
Oh my gosh, fantastic!
But
Sweetness.
not the greatest athlete that ever wore number 34.
Agreed.
Wow.
Who was then, Chuck?
Does that
So who was
surprise
it?
you a little bit?
It does. It does. You know, when Chuck will gives me little teasers occasionally, and he looked at me last week. He's like, 34 next week. There won't be any discussion on this one. It's like, oh Lord.
So you thought it was Walter?
I did. I figured.
No,
I figured you were gonna sweetness this whole damn conversation up.
Again, my favorite football player of all time, but the category is the greatest athlete that ever wore number 34.
All right,
I was going to do a Mike Tyson impression.
Yes.
Yes.
I gotta
Greatest
ask. Yeah.
athlete of all time.
So, I mean, on this list, there's some fabulous ones. Thurman Thomas was one.
Well, I was going to ask, what about any baseball players with number 34 or hockey to throw something? Anybody got any idea?
Or
I
race
do
car
not.
drivers.
Or race car drivers.
Speaking of race car drivers.
Or a college
Go ahead,
girls
Adam.
softball player.
Speaking of race car drivers, my number 34 is Juan Manuel Fangio. He's a
Hey, you can't
love
say that
that guy.
on the radio.
five-time F1
Fangio
world
you, buddy.
FCC is gonna shut us down, man. Not cool.
five-time F1 world champion. He won 47% of the races. So back then they only had like 8 races, so it's only 24 wins. But I mean, it's still
you win 40%. You win 54 races. I don't care.
Yeah.
We're way over
29 pole
racing this
positions,
weekend.
23 fastest laps.
Yeah, we picked up
two
three new
Grand
fans
Slams
in Duluth, Minnesota, who are going to watch the show all the time.
now.
All the time.
He two Grand Slams. I mean, it's he's a great number 34.
Yeah. So we have to agree that Shaq was a great basketball player. Sir Charles was a great basketball player.
Juan Manuel Fangio is a great race car
Earl
driver.
Campbell. If I had to get 1 yard ever, I'd probably give it to Earl Campbell. Let him bowl down the middle.
I was born in 1971, and I wish I still had my original football, but my original football was the Earl Campbell autographed edition. And if you were 6 or 7 or 8 and watching that man run and get his jerseys ripped off his back as he's dragging team, it was phenomenal. I would like to bring up this quick point on Walter versus Earl, just for the record. How many times did Walter Payton lead the league in rushing?
A few.
One.
Just one?
Only
Just one time. One
Wow.
time. 1977. Now, Earl Campbell, who could barely walk and only played 7 years his entire career, how many times he lead it? 3.
Wow.
The first 3 of his career. So,
Wow.
and I'm not saying Earl takes away sweetness, but dude was bad.
He was bad.
Sweetness was longevity.
Yeah, and not only that, I mean, he was a great guy. There aren't any Earl Campbell awards that they're giving out to the man of the year at the end of the season.
No, they're not.
There's one Walter Payton award, and there's a reason
Yeah,
for that.
that's
He
a
was
good
a
point.
great humanitarian, great guy. Other than my 34, I think he's the greatest 34 ever. However, I can't believe you guys are forgetting about
Chuck
one.
was 34.
No, I was not 34. No.
DeBurge.
All I gotta do to tell you is this guy knows.
Bo.
Bo knows.
Oh,
Bo
that's
Jackson.
right. Forgot about that.
Greatest athlete ever to wear the number 34. Saw him play baseball, saw him play football. Never seen a baseball hit as far as I saw him hit at Boardwalk in baseball when he was playing for the Kansas City Royals. Went over the 400-foot sign, the ball was still going up. I don't know, it's 20 years? I don't know if it's come down yet. What a great athlete. And I've seen him make runs that you just wouldn't believe. So because of the two-sport aspect and saw how much he did. Now, is Bo a great athlete today? No. He's not. He's probably not in the shape that like Herschel is. I think Herschel's still in pretty decent shape. But
Herschel never had his hip ripped out of socket.
That's true.
Good point. Yeah.
Herschel gets that one.
Yeah, but I think Bo Jackson is the greatest athlete I've ever seen.
Now, remind me, Chuck, how many years was Bo able to play? Because his career
Not
was short.
many. It was cut short. He got hurt.
Way
Yeah.
short. Because if
Yeah.
he wasn't hurt, imagine what could have happened to the stat sheet.
Exactly. I think he was as good as it gets. Like I said, Walter Payton, always be my favorite running back ever. But the category is greatest athlete, and I got to go with Bo. Robert's pulling up some Bo Jackson stuff here.
Yeah, the thing about Bo is you can't compare him to anybody else.
Because of his short-lived career?
No, because it's kind of I'm not trying to bring in bad company here, but he's a shooting star. You might see somebody who, man, that guy was great for 20 years. Man, ain't nothing like Haley's Comet flying through the room, and that's what Bo was. Bo was one of a kind. Whenever I try to talk to somebody who's a little younger, or a little shorter in the tooth like ATI, and you try to talk about Dion and Bo and what it was like watching these two guys play both sports, it's just you can't even begin to.
I've seen Bo Jackson highlights.
Yeah, who was it? It was Brian Bosworth that he ran over one time.
He trucked him on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, Monday Night Football.
It was Monday Night Football, and he trucked him.
Yeah, I'll never forget that one. Yeah.
I loved Olajuwon. What Olajuwon was able to do in the NBA, given his very little basketball background, he was a soccer player, was incredible. The Diesel changed, the Diesel is the only time you can throw back, and you could say Joker because he's a center, but Joker's got all these moves, and he can shoot a three or whatever. The Diesel was the first guy in 20 years who was that rock, that stationary guy. He said, just give me the ball. We can still win championships this old-fashioned way. So, what he did was amazing.
Let me ask the stat real quick. Did the Diesel, did he have more free throw attempts than any other pro in history because of the hack-a-shack strategy?
No, because he didn't play long enough. Play long enough.
Yeah, but we all remember the hack-a-shack thing.
Oh, yeah.
He was
So
like 50% from the line.
Yeah,
and if it was close, foul him and get him to the line. We're going to get the ball back quick.
Yeah, exactly.
Happened a lot.
For his career, Shaq shot 52.7 from the free throw line.
Wow.
58.2 from the field. So 6 points higher,
Yeah, but that 58.2 is coming right at the basket.
Correct.
That's a good point,
With three people on his back.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
part it's one thing to say, well, there's a lot of people next to the basket who can't shoot 58%.
Oh, absolutely.
But
And I remember one story when he was coming out of LSU, whatever year it was.
92.
I was listening to a pro basketball analyst before they said the best player in the NBA is Shaquille O'Neal, and he hadn't even joined the league yet.
Yeah.
They knew he was going to be.
He was that dominant.
He was that guy.
I'm going to double down. I'm going Bo.
Are you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's been my favorite athlete my entire life.
Yeah.
He's the one.
We agree on something. That's amazing.
Let's make it a trifecta since you brought it up.
Yeah.
I think both versatility, both sports. He was the man.
But you know what? I don't think we're going to get a four-factor.
No, you won't.
I don't think
Nope.
moving off the race car.
Nice try,
Can I
though.
say that race car name again that he can't say on
Juan
radio?
Manuel Fangio.
He said it again.
Fangio. Wasn't he on Happy Days?
Yeah, it was Ralph. That's Ralph
From
Mouth's cousin.
Buenos Aires, Argentina.
He was on the Italian version of Happy Days.
Ralph Mouth's cousin from Argentina.
Yeah.
What Bo was able to do. Have you ever seen that conversation with the doctor on why Bo's career stopped?
I've seen it, but I don't remember much about it.
Yeah.
So it was Monday Night Football. Everything happened with Bo on Monday Night Football. He trucked Bosworth, and then he was playing against the Bengals, and the guy tackled him from behind, and they said Bo was the only person who was physically strong enough to take another step. Every other human being in the world would have fallen down when they got hit. But because he took another step, that's what ripped his hip out of socket.
Oh, wow.
And
I didn't know that.
had he just fallen down, he'd have played another 10 years or whatever. But I want to say it was David, what is that guy, Fincher? It used to be the free safety for the Bengals.
Sounds right.
David Fincher, Faulkner.
Yeah.
He was a bad man.
Yeah. Well, so was Bo Jackson. And kudos to Bo. Jerome Bettis wasn't 34, was he? He was 38, wasn't he?
Yeah. And I think he
you're right,
changed.
yes.
And I think
So we'll
he
get
changed
him
numbers.
in a few weeks.
I
Yeah.
think he changed numbers in between Rams and Steelers.
Yeah. Well, 32 and 33 and 34 have been a lot of fun. Really good discussions. I don't think we agreed on 33, but it's good to see everybody in consensus or number 34 for Bo Jackson. the greatest athlete
Well, not
of all time. But everybody on the main panel.
Oh,
How's that?
the main.
Ouch.
Everyone that counts.
Not
That's what I was gonna say. Everybody
Yeah.
that counts.
I wouldn't say that. Your opinion counts.
No,
It just doesn't mean much.
Well, listen to it.
I
Yeah.
will say this, though. I thought about this during the week, and you, at one point, Chuck, decided you wanted to rehash some old bad decisions when you wanted to go Caitlin Clark and a couple other times.
Yeah, I had forgotten about
I'm changing last week's. I
Right.
know I gave it to
Bird, right?
No, I gave it to Jabbar based on longevity.
Yeah.
I'm taking it away. I'm giving it to Larry Legend.
Okay.
That mouth makes him number one. That
I
mouth makes
have
him
no
number
idea.
one.
I can't even remember who I picked, but it wasn't. Was it Larry? I can't remember who I picked.
I don't know.
Yeah, we'd have to look back. But yeah, 32, 33, and 34 have been a lot of fun. 35, they went out.
It's going to start getting thin again.
Yeah, the only one I can think of off the top of my head at 35 is who?
I want to say Phil Niekro.
That's exactly who I was thinking. Yeah, Phil Niekro. Speaking of the Braves, we'll talk about them in the next section. But for now, let's go to Alvin Jameson.
Hey, Alvin Jameson here, the mortgage guy. Are you looking to get pre-approved for a home loan? Or maybe you want to build a house from the ground up? Are you curious, or better yet, is your significant other on your back about making renovations in your current home? Call me. I have options for you. All self-employed individuals. Are you torn between writing off all your income or having to show your income to qualify for a house? I have a third alternative for you. Whether you're a W-2 employee, self-employed individual looking to do a purchase or pull money out of your current house, or better yet, we can't forget the investors out there. If you have that high interest rate, hard money loan, and looking to refinance out of it, again, give me a call. I have options. Below are the states that I'm personally licensed in. Call me, 404-587-9033. Again, 404-587-9033. Visit the website, alvinjameson.com.
Thank you, Alvin Jameson, for being the sponsor of the Three Guys Who Love Sports. We're going to move on to the Atlanta Braves now. And then what's going on with the Braves? We've got, last I saw, we're about to go back to 5.5 games out of first place. It looked like the Phillies were whipping up on San Francisco pretty good. But Braves did pick up a game over the week. There were 6 games out last week, and which they could be by the end of the night, too. They've got a new guy pitching for them tonight.
The new guy.
What's his name, Adam? It's a funny one.
For the Braves?
Yeah,
I
starting
have
pitching
no
tonight.
idea.
Oh, okay.
Throw the race car driver name out again.
Sling-a-winger.
Juan Manuel Fangio.
There we go. Yeah.
Slingerwinger or something like that.
Oh,
Larry,
I did see that. I don't know how to pronounce his name yet, but I will. By next week, I will know how to pronounce
Well,
his
he'll
name.
probably be back in Gwinnett County by next week. Who's starting, Robert?
Spencer Schwellenbach.
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 Yeah, Spencer Schwellenbach pulling up from Gwinnett to start tonight.
Schwellenbach.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
It's got a Hall of Fame ring to it if he lasts.
I bet he
yeah.
drinks warm, dark beer. Just a guess. Just a guess.
Sounds German.
that's right.
Yes.
Well, the biggest
Well-
news of the week, obviously, is losing Ronald Acuna again
Yeah.
to an ACL. And what do we think that's going to do for the Braves? Because the last time he was gone, they went out and won a World Series, right? Is that going to happen again?
Well, I don't know. Well, real quick, I was at the game on Monday. I don't know who went to the last game, but I was there 72 hours ago. 48 hours ago. Good grief. And it started out really poorly, and it didn't get a whole lot. Well, actually, they made 8-4. They made a good run. I think it was 7-0 at some point, but they had a couple of
8-0
chances
at one point,
late.
yeah.
And but anyway, my daughter was in the bathroom in the first inning, came back, and it was already 4-0. She's like, "Oh boy, this is going to be interesting." But we had a great time. Great time at the stadium.
Always a good time at
yeah.
Truist Park.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of bats. You can't replace Acuna. You know, there's not. Ooh, where do we pick up a MVP once in a world type of bat? You know, that doesn't exist. What I'd like to say is that
Where's the guys from Moneyball when you need them?
no, we don't. We're already nickel and diamond stuff. We knew we needed starting pitching help before the season started. Strider's gone down since then. That means you owe me 2 AA. Go get a couple pitchers, and then we'll just stay right under the radar. Hopefully, everybody talking Dodgers and Phillies and Dodgers.
They picked up another outfielder today, Ricardo somebody. I can't remember his last name.
Unfortunately, probably not Rico Cardi.
not the big boy with the big bat. No, it was not Rico. Yeah, I love Rico Carty. Yeah, I can't remember his name, but the Braves, like I said, they're 5.5 games out, or will be, or is it 6? No, it's 5. They were out today, right?
They're out. They're down 5 right now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and like I said, and the score will be popping up here in a minute.
What
we'll
are we
look
at? Third of the way through the season now, give or take.
Yep,
close.
Pretty
to
close.
it.
Yeah, 2 months worth. Yeah. So
Yeah.
about a third of the way.
So nothing really to worry. So Robert, you say it's relaxed. Don't worry about it time or.
Baseball is a really long year. I said this a couple of years ago when the Phillies made the World Series that, wow, look at this team out of nowhere. No, they had the 4th highest payroll. This is what they were supposed to do all along. We have a good payroll. We have the best hitting lineup still. I firmly believe, even minus last year's MVP, there's not a lot of teams, I don't believe any teams, that can go toe-to-toe with us with our batting. That being said,
they're going to have to get warmer.
Absolutely.
He hit a home run last night. Because Braves had, 5 hits
Riley,
last night?
Acuna, Olsen, all of them have been stinking. Now, one of them can't play anymore, but everybody's got to come around.
They only had 2 runs and 5 hits, and no matter what level of baseball you're at, you're not going to win too many baseball games when you've got 2 runs and 5 hits.
Nope.
That's a good
and
point.
they also
Yep.
struck out 15 times last night. So
that's the way we
that's
the
an
way
issue,
we sign
right?
them.
Yeah. So I don't know. Phillies were playing phenomenal ball there for a while. They were like 39-6 or 29-6 over
And
a
they-
35-game stretch.
and they
now they've
still
lost.
are.
Now they've lost 4 out of 5.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're
it's
winning 4-0 right now in the 6th inning.
Is it
so.
4-0? Yeah, that's what I saw last.
Yeah, I got a thought. My son-in-law helped me out. Phillies offense is explosive, according to him, and said that Aaron Nola's an ace. Is that a fair assessment, everybody?
Nola is an ace. Is it Weaver, the other quarter?
Wheeler.
Wheeler, yeah.
Went to
the
East
other.
Paulding.
Yep. Is also a good pitcher for them. So
No, they got a lot of stuff. They got a lot of stuff there.
they got a lot very similar to the Braves. They got a couple of good pitchers. I mean, we got Fried and we got Chris Sale. And
Uncle Charlie.
I heard a stat today that between those two, they're 17-5, and the rest of the staff is 14-16.
Spawn and
Ooh.
Sane and pray for rain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
I mean, what you have to have when you have 2 dominant lefties like
Or
we do,
or Fried
you
and-
got to have a righty in between them come postseason time.
Fried
so.
and Sale and pray for hail. Would that
That'll work too.
That'll work too.
We're good with that. We're good with that. The 2024 version
Yeah, there you go.
of
Yeah.
the war chant.
Hey, let me ask you guys something real quick. I've heard a little bit about the time clock now in baseball, and that pitchers are now coming up with more injuries quicker because of the time clock. And again, I don't understand all the mechanics of it. Do you guys subscribe to that? Do you believe it? Do you have any thoughts on it?
Nope. I mean, I think it's the velocity that they throw and the number of times they throw it. Now, this kid from Pittsburgh, Skeens, yeah, throws consistently over 100 miles an hour.
Holy cow.
I don't know how
Wow.
long his arm's going to last.
Well, and it's not just that, and you're right. Everybody's trying to throw it hard, which is going to rip their shoulder and elbow out, but we're babying these guys. The idea of Juan Marichal throwing 230 pitches and coming back 4 days later to throw another complete game. These guys, as soon as they get, oh man, he's got 82 pitches. So because you have moved them way down the evolutionary chain by not stretching their arms out the way the arms have been stretched out for the last 40, 50 years, I think that's adding to it because, you having to hurry up and throw. You're still not throwing more pitches.
Understood. Yep.
So, yeah.
I
Or
read a-
throwing 160 pitches.
Yeah, like I said a couple of weeks ago, I can't remember the exact stat, but there'd been like 23 Tommy John surgeries in the last couple of years, and from the whole decade of the 90s, there was like 3. So something's different.
So, well, one thing I'll say, I told somebody this today. I said, this isn't true, but I'm hoping that it's true. So nowadays, scouts and big league officials, they really don't mind you going to have Tommy John. Get Tommy John out of your way when you're 16 or 17. Turns you into a little more bionic, and then we don't have to worry about it in the future. I'm hoping Ronnie's 2 rebuilt knees are very similar. We don't have to worry about them anymore but that's the real question for me.
They were talking today on one of the stations that the Braves have drafted somebody that was about to have Tommy John surgery for that exact same reason, because they knew he was going to be good. And they went in and drafted him second round, too. It's not like he picked him in the 8th or 9th round.
Correct.
Picked him in the second round.
Boy, that's a slippery slope, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. But you know, going back to Chuck's first point that everybody's throwing 100 miles an hour. If you're throwing that hard, I know you're going to throw your arm out. Let's just go ahead and turn you into Steve Austin or Jamie Summers.
The $6 million man?
Yeah, Bionic
That's
Woman.
Colonel Steve Austin to you.
Hey,
Yeah.
Oh, he was a great wrestler.
Yeah.
I love that show.
Well, I'll tell you, this conversation reminds me of watching Greg Maddux pitch so many years ago. I think his speed was like 90 miles an hour or something like that.
he never threw fast.
He never threw fast, but good grief, could that guy pitch.
And there's some kid from Chicago that they're talking about now that's a lot like Maddox.
Okay.
He never throws higher than like 85.
Yeah.
And he said one guy said he's not the best pitcher, but he's unhittable. And
you're probably talking about Amanta, the Japanese guy.
Yeah.
He's blown it up. I mean, he was probably the second or third. He is on my fantasy team. Just gonna throw that one out. But he was probably second or third as far as big Japanese names coming into the league this year. But man, he's been unstoppable.
And also Suarez with Philadelphia
Ranger.
He was 9-0 until he got beat a couple of days ago by San Francisco. That was his first loss. Had like a 1.2 ERA.
Yeah,
strong.
Very impressive.
So that's why I said I think they're a lot like the Braves. They got a couple of good pitchers and some bats. So I don't see a whole lot of difference between the Phillies and the Braves. The Cleveland Guardians have the best record in the AL, unless the Yankees passed them last night again. They're both way up there. I still have Baltimore as my pick, but
Tribe's playing well.
Yeah,
I'm not allowed to call them the Indians.
Yeah.
Can you call them that anymore?
They're the Tribe as far as I'm
You
concerned.
can't do that. Let's back to
there's
that
the
race car
Indians as
driver
far as
name.
I'm concerned. There you go.
Juan Manuel Fangio.
I can't say that on the radio anymore.
Yeah. So they're playing pretty good ball over there. And actually, that whole East, I think Minnesota and Kansas City both had 8-game winning streaks at the same time. Minnesota won 12 in a row.
Just curious, who's the worst team out there in baseball? Anybody know? Who's in the cellar?
Well, I thought it was Colorado. Now they beat Phillies a couple of times.
Well, according to the numbers right now, it is definitely the Chi Sox.
Okay.
Yeah, the White
They've been
Sox.
bad. They've been bad for a long
Southsiders.
time, right?
Yeah, they haven't been good. Detroit and the White Sox like to throw a lot of money out every 4 or 5 years to somebody who's a little older and, just doesn't usually work out for either one of them.
Ooh.
It doesn't well. So, I'm probably going to have to say that I think the Phillies are probably the best team in baseball right now. Yeah. Really, really cool. They look good. Let's see if they win today. Like I said, they've lost 4 out of 5 after they won 29 out of 35, so they're not going to fall far. But we've got to see another month. Is that where we're going to start panicking? Is that where we're going to start worrying about where we are?
Well, the deadline's always the All-Star break. Where do you stand at the All-Star break? Do you need help at the All-Star break? If AA doesn't get help before the All-Star break and starting pitching, there's almost no sense in doing it because now he's got to overpay to get it.
And then the trade deadline is the end of July, right?
That's
July
correct.
31st.
That's correct.
So we'll have to see what happens.
Let me ask you, strategy, obviously pitchers are the main thing, but any position players we're struggling with the Braves and anybody
in terms of
not
hitting,
fielding well? I'm
not
sure.
fielding. I mean, Acuna dropped a fly ball a couple of weeks ago, and Bo Bach.
I say we bench him for the next year.
Yeah, well, not Bo Bach. What's the quarterback's name from Georgia? Buck Bellew. He got on his radio show and reamed this kid for dropping the ball at third base that a 9-year-old could have caught. But Ronald Acuna is an all-pro, and he's dropping the balls in right field.
Yeah.
So don't give this kid a hard time.
Buck comes from Valdosta. He's a simple man.
He was wrong about everything. He stinks. But I like listening to him because it's either him or Steak Shapiro, and I'd rather listen to Bo Bach when I'm driving the Steak Shapiro. So, So I'd probably have to give Philly the edge right now. I just seen them do more.
And just for the record, I just looked it up to see who's leading my favorite stat, run differential.
Yeah.
And it is the Yankees.
Is it really?
Barely ahead of
what is the Yankees record compared to the Guardians?
37-19. So Yankees have 1 loss more than Cleveland. Same amount of wins, and
so they're half game back.
And they're a game behind Philadelphia, but they've scored 3 more runs.
The Yankees have.
So the run differential is run scored versus run scored a pun.
That's correct.
Across all the
So-
games.
So sometimes you look at a team like right now, Minnesota is, right in the, they're 30-24, but their run differential is 7.
Okay.
And the Yankees are at plus 91 right now.
Holy cow.
So
Yeah.
you start figuring out who's treading water and who's got their head down doing some hard laps. So
Yeah.
Hey, one stat I heard years ago was that some manager said this in baseball. There are 162 games.
Yep.
Everybody's going to win 54.
Yep.
Everybody's going to lose 54.
Yep.
It's the other 54
That matter.
Absolutely.
And that's one of those one-run games, and having that pitcher go 7 innings, that kind of thing. That's the kind of stuff that matters,
So
right?
yeah, one more quick question: how many 100-win teams do you think we'll have this year?
2.
That's my guess.
Two's a really high number. I mean, it could be 3. Just for the
Somebody said 4 the other day or 5, and I said I don't just see that at all.
run differential for the American League West right now. -4, -4, -7, -60, -35. Nobody in that division is above.
Have they got anybody got a 500 record?
Absolutely, the Seattle Mariners 30-26, but
And they're leading the
-4.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
they're a division winner, but they're not quite playing the same way as some of these other teams.
Isn't that kind of like the NFC South in football?
It's
Yeah.
exactly like
Everybody
the
sucks.
NFC South in football because the Falcons suck.
Everybody sucks.
Well, speaking of football, we're going to get on to them next right after we do our Kennesaw Express Lube commercial.
There are a lot of places to get your oil changed in the Kennesaw area, but if you're looking for a personal experience, then stop in at Castro Kennesaw Express Lube or Lost Mountain Express Lube. We'll always do our best to get you in and out quickly, safely, and without a whole lot of fuss. We're a true owner-operated business where you'll find Brian under a car or hood at one of the shops. We offer experienced, knowledgeable technicians and the latest computer software to help you maintain your new car warranty and keep your pride and joy running for the next 100,000 miles. We proudly offer
Castrol products. And we thank you, Ryan Bristro, for being a sponsor of the Three Guys Who Love Sports right here at Miller's Ale House on Wednesday afternoons at 5.
That was the first time ATI's ever flashed in front during a commercial to turn a light on.
The thing comes up so they couldn't see me, which is why I did it.
Yeah, no, I figured there was a reason for it, but I was like reading, I was like, nobody ever walks in front of me while I'm doing this. What is going on?
Is that why you were giggling?
Yeah, it's kind of why I giggled.
Okay.
Everybody like a schoolgirl.
Everybody say hey to Kim and Casey. Kim and Casey just showed up. They're going to be doing their own podcast, and
Hi,
they wanted to come
Kim
see
and
ours.
Casey.
Hi, ladies.
How
we doing?
Hey, we're saying hey to y'all on the air. So, hey. So they want to learn how a podcast is done, so we'll be glad to help them
Why
out.
would they come and watch us?
Because Larry's here.
They should come and they should come and watch my podcast.
Liechtenstein Larry is here. That's why they came. All right. So biggest news of the week probably in college sports is now money has finally come to college football.
That is not the biggest news of the week in college sports, but continue.
What do you think?
I'd like to hear yours.
The biggest news of we got a gameplay release for the new college football game. We have a release date. We know what the game looks like. Big news came out today.
See why you don't do the agenda?
That is the biggest news in college sports.
That'll be awesome come the first day.
I got about 2.3 billion reasons why that's not. So
that'll be fun come tailgate time.
July
Yeah, it
19th.
will. So
or July 16th if you get the early release.
So isn't this crazy that we are now going back and paying athletes? I mean, athletes have been paid for years. We know that. Under the table, over the
Reggie
table,
Bush.
whatever.
Yeah.
Cam Newton.
They've been paid. But Reggie got his Heisman back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mama got to keep a house. I got a trophy.
So I got to read a quote that I read today, and y'all talk a little bit while I put it up. I got to get my glasses on.
I'll just say this: I'm a very dumb person. For years and years, I thought the NCAA was this, incredible organization, just like the PGA, where they're in charge of everything. They know how to do everything. And it turns out these people are clueless. Not only have they fought to keep NIL away from their sport so that they can be in charge, now that they can see everything's running away without them and the big conferences don't even want them around, now they're like, well, we can give money out too. You talk about bending in the wind. It's mind-boggling to me how dumb these people are.
And I wanted to read this because I want to get it right. I want to read it verbatim. But the reality of the culmination of votes on Thursdays, which still needs to be approved by Judge Claudia Wilkin, is that college leaders took the best bad option. They're going to pay billions now and share the revenue, or lawyers predicted lose a series of lawsuits that declare bankruptcy and start over. Maybe that's the best option.
Well,
maybe throwing everything away and starting over is the best way to go.
But who's going to sue them? Do you have any idea? The
everybody.
Just everybody.
Everybody.
But if they went away, I don't think and correct me where I'm wrong, you guys. If they go away, I don't think they just come back. I don't, when the NCAA folds because they can't do any of this stuff, I don't think we allow them to create a new board and then govern everybody's well-being, because we've laughed at how they govern football transfers and all these other things, and now with portals and NIL, now you're giving money. I don't know if they fold, they would just be gone forever.
Yeah,
I think.
I don't know.
Good point.
I think every sport needs to start over. Personally, I wish baseball would cut everybody, football cut everybody, and eventually stars would work their ways back up and build all new athletes. And just start over.
Everybody.
Everybody.
And all teams have a draft, and that would be awesome.
And just start
from the
over.
existing pool of players.
Just start
Who's
over.
signing
Yes.
Bronny?
Everybody gets cut.
Start over.
Where's
and you start
Bronny?
over. Now, we can do that over a
You play
weekend, couldn't we?
you play rock
Oh, yeah.
paper scissors for the first pick,
It's down to the Jets and Giants. Oh!
and the Giants get the first
Mahomes.
pick.
No, it's
Mahomes is going to New York.
it's rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock. If you want to do it
I
right.
love rock paper scissors lizard Spock.
Big Bang.
Yeah.
All
So
right, let me ask: is the money going everywhere,
everywhere.
or is it just to men's football,
no,
or is it
it's-
going everywhere?
The whole premise is it's going everywhere.
All right,
and Carrick
so-
might be able to lend a little bit on this.
So
'cause
women's
he's-
lacrosse, they're going to get paid as well. They can get paid
That
as
can
well.
whole
get.
thing.
That's the whole thing.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can, but
I mean, clearly, you're never going to get women's lacrosse players getting paid what a basketball or a football player are. The only way that you'll ever get that is if a women's lacrosse player who is retired, who is now a millionaire, says, here, this is earmarked, and I want this to go back there to the best player. But that will only last for a year, because they'll see, wow, nothing really happened with my investment. My old team really still stinks.
They still
even,
suck.
even with the addition of this new player.
So is this going to stop NIL? I mean, because basically we're paying athletes, college athletes now. Are they employees? Do they have to go to class?
This is my question. We were talking about the Old West, with the portal and NIL. Is this the Old West? We thought it was the Old West, but now with the NCAA slipping money to people, I don't understand. It's kind of like one of those things where people are fighting hand-to-hand combat in the woods, and I don't know if you're on my side or not. I mean, who do you know?
Well, to go back to your previous point, somebody like Johns Hopkins is great at lacrosse, but they're not good at anything else.
Correct.
So
This
they'll
is
just
just a Power Five,
feed
right?
money into that. Well, they're Big Ten in lacrosse. They are.
Right,
but they don't generate
it's
any
the
revenue, right?
NCAA driving money into that. They will take all of their money.
They're a Power 5 lacrosse team.
But I understand what I'm saying is that university takes all of its money and they funnel it into that sport so that they can keep dominating. There's no reason to think that the NCAA is going to go, we need to pile some more money into John Hopkins'
lacrosse
account.
All right,
I don't know how it works.
All right, real quick, just to clarify, college football is the cash behemoth, followed
Absolutely.
by
Men's basketball.
followed by men's basketball. Then
Yep.
I'm sure there's a wide gap
Huge.
to the next one.
To
Mind-boggling.
Baseball.
or girls softball? Yeah.
It's actually women's basketball probably
Well,
after
yeah.
this
All right.
past year, but
And
it's
then-
still
Yeah.
way
And then you've got baseball, softball,
Right.
lacrosse.
But they don't
probably
bring on they don't
lacrosse, track.
They don't bring fans in the stands.
No,
In the
they
stadium,
don't.
no.
Very few.
They do not.
uncles,
Yeah.
aunts, and parents.
That's about right.
Uncle
Ba-
Nancy.
baseball
even for the men, right, Robert?
At the right,
Even for the men,
at the
yeah.
right, at the right school, baseball is.
If you're at LSU, if you're at Duke,
Yeah,
if you're
Georgia.
one of these, but once again, the stadiums aren't huge. They're not putting
25,000 people in the
correct.
stadiums, yeah.
It might,
Yes.
it's a sellout. Well, your sellout's 6,000. That's impressive, but nobody knows what else
But
to do.
it's
in
not
Red Stick on a
106 like they have at the
Tuesday
big
night.
house.
Right.
Real quick, how many baseball games do men's college teams play? Any
They
idea?
play
40.
around 40.
They
Yeah.
play.
Okay, and
They play
basketball-
If
40.
you go undefeated, you'd play 40.
All right, and basketball is 32-ish. Football is 13 or 14.
Because if you win 20,
like
you're going to make
it.
You're going to make the tournament more than likely.
Just trying to make the difference. It's the whole fan base thing. If you have so many opportunities
they
to
keep
go,
playing. We're going to talk a little bit about the college playoffs here. If they keep expanding those,
football is
going to be
college football is 12
right now.
12 games,
until
12.
this year. And now we're going to get into
12 regular season games,
then,
but that's before the conference championship games and before the playoffs.
So I can't wait to see what happens with this NIL deal or whatever it is. But let's talk briefly about the new playoff system, because there's 12 teams, and the way I understand it, and again, I read on this today, the top 5 teams that are heading a conference go to the playoffs no matter what position they're in. In other words, if the lead team in the ACC is 23rd in the country, but they're top in their division, they're still going to go to the playoffs. Plus the other 7 best at-large teams in terms of ranking.
So the power four teams and the best group of 5 team.
Yeah. Well, no, it says, and again, I'll read this exactly.
It's power 4 and the best group of 5.
No, it's the best 5 conferences is the way this reads.
Yes, so that'll be the best 5 conferences will be the Power 4 and then the best group of 5 team.
The 5 highest ranked conference champions and the next 7 highest ranked teams will earn spot in the 12-team bracket. There is no limit to how many teams from one conference can qualify. Let me finish. The rules also don't guarantee spots for conferences. The champions of the Big Ten, SEC, ACC, and Big Ten will almost certainly routinely qualify, though, along with the highest-ranked champion from the Mountain West, American Athletic Conference, Sun Belt, Mid-American Conference, or Conference USA.
So
the Power 4 will almost always make it. There's no way that a Alabama or there's no way 2 of these teams are going to be ranked lower than the Sun Belt team.
Let's say that Kennesaw State wins the Conference USA and they're ranked 23rd, and they're higher than some of the other conference championships. They're going.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they have to be at larges. They would have to be ranked ahead of the Mountain West champion.
The Mountain West and the MAC and the American champion. Essentially, it's going to be the Power 4 and probably either the Mountain West or the American champion.
Correct. I'm not going to count out the Owls, but yeah.
Well, yes, but.
Yeah. All right, let me ask something on the structure of it. 12 teams. The top 4 get a bye the first round. Then you have 4 quarterfinal games.
That's correct. I guess. And those games will be held on the higher seeds
home
campus. Okay, got it. All right. And then you get into the
bowls.
Then you get into the quarters and the semis. Yeah. Okay. So that could be 4 extra games back to the 12 we were talking about. So 12 regular season games.
They could play as many as 16.
As many as 4 playoff games.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Are they stretching the calendar at all for this? Does anybody know?
They are. They're starting it earlier.
Yeah. The first college football game is 88 days from today when Georgia Tech opens in Ireland against Florida State.
Hey, Les.
What day is that? Do you know the calendar date?
I think it's
mid-August.
Saturday.
August 26th, I think.
It's a little early, yeah. Because normally it starts Labor Day weekend, right? Historically,
that's
when
week 0.
That's week 0.
Yeah, when Tech play week 0. Labor Day weekend is usually week 1.
Americans can't get their football quickly enough, we create week 0.
Usually Hawaii plays week 0 against Navy and
some people play on week 0, but the week 1's the big game.
Yeah.
But I think one thing I will like though is that there won't be as big of a gap now between the single national championship game and the last rivalry weekend and Saturday after Thanksgiving. I kind of like that.
I do like that. I think this clarifies better who the 12 teams can be. The way they've got it set up now. I was a big proponent of the 4. I don't like the 12. May change my mind after a year or so. But
wouldn't
I think we should go to 64 or 130.
4 playing games.
132, 124, and exclude 12 teams or 10 teams.
Why don't we just go with 128 and just have the
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. I can't do math.
The playoff starts on October 7th.
And they finish in April.
No, I was thinking more September.
Hey guys, pro tennis. They play 7 matches in 14 days.
There you go.
I mean, they start with 128 people, end up with 1.
I mean, you could play.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about college sports. We talk about it with baseball. Baseball has 162 games. You're going to have bad weeks. You're going to have great weeks and whatever else. But we've always had this emphasis on college football because you can't screw up. Well, now you can screw up a little bit because we got a little 12, but we can't expand it anymore. Everybody can just,
Well, if you had 128, you'd have 7 weeks of playoff.
Playoffs.
You would.
Of the playoffs. I mean, you could do 7 weeks of the playoff. If you start first week of December, you end the third week of January, you're still out before the NFL playoffs.
I'm going to be in a 12-step program if you give me that many.
But you know what's so funny about this? We all talk about the money and all this stuff, but God, do we love the game or what? Everybody watches because it's the greatest thing to watch in sports.
Yeah. My last question. I know we're running the clock. Is anybody going to care who the 13th seed is when all this is done? Does anybody really care?
Yeah, it'll
be
just like
the 13th seed.
It'll be just like the 15th.
Nobody else will.
It'll be just like the 5th seed when it was 4.
I don't know about that.
What it is, I mean, realistically, it's going to be the 12th team in the country. Because for the most part, the top 4,
if the 23rd team gets in,
that's what it is. It's the top 4, and then those 7 who's ranked 12?
It'll be Hawaii who's ranked.
The real number 12.
We know you're really good, Oregon. You win 11-2, and you won at the Big House and everything. But the Road Runners from
Sam Houston State.
it's going to be a mess. But again, it's controversy. Is what makes college football one of the greatest things there is. And we are running over time. So Farrell, thanks, buddy.
Hey, man.
It's
Awesome
always
to be here, guys.
great
Thank
to
you
have
so much,
you on.
man. It's great. Great stuff.
We'll be talking a lot of college football as we move closer to the season. Like I said, 88 days, so we're only 12 weeks,
months.
about 12 weeks from college football. So again, Rick Limpert, we're thinking of you, buddy, with your dad. Don't forget that. Take care of yourselves, guys. Know your numbers. Cover your ass. Get your prostate checked. We'll see you next week on 3 Guys Who Love Sports.
Hey.